What's going on, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for another quick conversation about the never-ending story that is TJ Holmes. So, as we have talked about before in our previous conversations, we talked about TJ Holmes and him having this illicit affair with his co-anchor Amy Robach, and how they ended up being suspended over that affair because they were both, well, he was definitely married at the time, and she was technically still married to her husband Andrew Shue, but they had already filed for divorce, and their divorce was pending. So ABC suspends them from Good Morning America, pending further investigation. And then it came out that TJ Holmes had had an affair with Natasha Singh, who was a former producer at Good Morning America. Then it came out that he had an affair back in 2015 with a young lady by the name of Jasmine Pettaway. Now, what made Jasmine Pettaway different from Natasha and Amy is that her position was lower than his. And so that made TJ her superior. And so the fact that they were carrying on in this affair, this illicit affair, it was abuse of his power. So they're trying to say that this was a clear violation of work ethics or workplace policy, for a superior to have I guess an affair or a sexual relationship with a subordinate. So now it comes out that there's yet another staffer. Now, this most recent one, she has remained anonymous, but sources are telling these news outlets that 3 o'clock in the morning, I guess because they would all report to work so early, because, they would start filming the show pretty early on. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, they'd be at work, and then TJ Holmes and this anonymous staffer they will go into TJ's office, and sources are saying that they could only assume what was going on inside, but they could definitely hear rustling, like a bunch of rustling, a bunch of movements going on in the office. And so then the young lady would come out of the office looking completely flushed, and like a deer caught in headlights. This is the look that she would have as she would emerge from TJ Holmes's office after them having this alleged tryst. Now, what I think is so interesting is that the same thing or something similar was said of Jasmine Pettaway, that she would be in TJ's office like a couple of hours before he was supposed to come on air. She would be in TJ's office supposedly, fooling around with him, and she would come out of the office looking dazed and confused. So these descriptions of how these women would look after coming out of TJ's office makes me very curious to find out what the hell was going on in TJ's office. Like, what was he doing to these women for them to come out looking like a deer caught in headlights, or for them to come out looking dazed and confused? Like, what in the world was going on in TJ's office? So I think that was, extremely peculiar. So also they're reporting that Amy Robach was blindsided by these stories that have come out about Jasmine Pettaway and this anonymous staffer. Amy was not shocked about Natasha Singh because she knew of the affair between TJ and Natasha Singh. Natasha Singh being one of the former producers of Good Morning America. Not only did she know about it, but Amy Robach would consult with them or counsel TJ and Natasha on how they would deal with their respective spouses in the middle of them having this affair. So Amy knew about Natasha Singh. Allegedly, Amy did not know about Jasmine Pettaway and didn't know about this other anonymous former employee of Good Morning America. TJ Holmes is just wilding out. Now, he's a very good looking guy. So I don't know if these women are finding him like hard to resist. He knows how to put on that charm. Well, he had enough charm to keep his wife for as long as he kept her amongst all of these affairs. I'm pretty sure that Marilee Feibeg knew of at least one of these affairs before Amy. She must have known of at least one of these affairs, because they were struggling in their marriage and they were trying to, or they were on the path of, reconciling and trying to fix their marriage. TJ had declared his love to Marilee Feibeg somewhere around their 10th year anniversary, which was somewhere around 2019. He had declared his love for her. He had thanked her for her allowing him to fall from grace and pick himself back up, for her giving him chance after chance, for her, staying in the marriage with him, believing in him that, things would get better between them. So, his wife must have known of some of these affairs, at least one of them, because their marriage was on the rocks and they were trying to repair their marriage when the affair came out about him and Amy Robach. I'm just like, and I know that a lot of it, obviously, there's a lot of attention on him because, he's a well-known person. He's a well-known TV personality. And if it was any other Joe Blow, nobody would care how many affairs they had. Nobody would care if they slept with 20, 30, 40 women at work. But because it's TJ Holmes and he's well-known, so on and so forth, they're giving it a whole lot of attention. And so I'm not saying this is unusual. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think this is unusual. I don't think this behavior is unheard of or that this behavior is surprising. But sometimes you kind of think that when a person reaches a certain level of notoriety or fame, that they would calm the hell down because they're recognizable. People know who they are. They have a lot to lose. Any one of these women could have gone to the press, could have gone to the higher ups at ABC, could have gone to his wife. So you kind of feel like, well, didn't you feel like you had a whole lot to lose, Mr. Holmes? You're kind of well known. You're on television every single day. People see you all the time. Don't you want to kind of calm down and relax? And the fact that it would happen in front of other people, that's another thing. So with the one that's anonymous, the most recent story that broke out with the lady that we don't know who she is yet, this would be going on in his office and there would be other employees there. The same thing with Jasmine Pettaway. They would carry on in his office with other employees being there. And with Jasmine Pettaway, as I reported in my previous video about TJ Holmes, they would be in public, like in a bar or a restaurant, and he would be very touchy-feely with her in front of other people that they worked with, etc. And it amazes me how he was not trying to be discreet, to the point where in the middle of his affair with Amy Robach, he goes on air and makes a joke about it. He makes a joke about, the fact that this news broke about him and Amy. This man, I don't know if you can say he has no shame, he just doesn't care, doesn't give, or if he's like, I'm TJ Holmes and I dare anybody to say anything. I dare anybody to do anything about this. I don't know. It's just amazing to me that he's just so blunt about it, so blatant about it, and just doesn't really care. So I wonder if Amy is having second thoughts. Now, the rumors are TJ is not going to be coming back to Good Morning America, but there's some rumblings that maybe Amy has a chance or has a better chance than TJ of coming back to Good Morning America. That, Good Morning America might want her to come back because she really hasn't done anything wrong. And if there is no morality clause in her contract with ABC, or if this affair is not considered a violation of morality according to ABC, then she hasn't really done anything wrong. Which in turn would ask the question, why was she suspended? You know what I mean? Why do they feel like they had to suspend her? Obviously, there was a lot of controversy around them, but is that warrant a suspension from your job because everybody's talking about your affair with your coworker? I don't know. So there's a possibility that Amy might come back. I don't know why she would want to come back. They're saying that the other employees at Good Morning America don't want neither one of them back. They definitely don't want TJ back. They said that TJ was very arrogant, that he wasn't very nice to work with, etc., etc. So TJ has lost his opportunity to come back to Good Morning America. People are saying that this was the best gig that he could ever have had. People are comparing him to Matt Lauer of the Today Show. When Matt Lauer was caught, he was exposed of all the inappropriate behavior that was going on at NBC, he's been gone for a few years now, and we haven't seen or heard of Matt Lauer since he exited the Today Show. So this is like a career killer when stuff like this comes out. Nobody wants to hire you. Nobody wants to touch you because I'm assuming they see you as a liability. This can open up the company to a lot of lawsuits if you are seen as someone who cannot control themselves. And every time that you are around other people, you gotta, hop into bed with them. And these people, especially if they are subordinates, can file complaints and lawsuits against you for inappropriate behavior, et cetera, whatever the legal terms are for this type of action. So it's just really sad because, as an African American man in this industry, the news industry, there aren't a ton of them that have reached this type of level. And so here he is, his career was definitely on the rise from what I've been reading. And he had to ruin it all because he just can't keep it in his pants. He just can't control himself. And what a shame. And what's worse than that, it seems like he lost a very, very good woman. From everything that I've been able to read about Mary Lee Feibig, she's absolutely lovable. Everybody adores her. I haven't heard one single thing negative said or one single thing wrong said about Mary Lee Feibig. She had a lot of patience. Mary Lee had a lot of patience to put up with someone like TJ. A lot of patience. So he lost a really good woman, possibly losing his job. I don't know. Oh, that's another thing. So TJ and Amy have lawyered up, and supposedly the lawyers, ABC's lawyers, TJ and Amy's lawyers are all going to be meeting up for some type of mediation. And if things don't go TJ's way, the speculation is that he might file a lawsuit against ABC based on racial discrimination, basically alleging that if there are morality clauses where they applied fairly across the board amongst white people and black people and every other race of people that had allegedly violated other morality clauses. So that's something that I guess his lawyers are discussing, which is a possibility. Do they just apply this morality clause because TJ's black? Or do they apply this morality clause fairly amongst everybody who's in violation of it? So there's a lot up in the air right now for a lot of people. Anyways, that's all I had to say. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you joining me. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.